Hi everybody, welcome to On the Glide Slope. We are in Puerto Rico, virtually. I had a viewer request to do a flight in Puerto Rico, and I've never flown in the sim down here, so I figured what the heck. We're in the seaplane. We're in the Aerosoft Beaver today, and we are bobbing up and down in the middle of San Juan Bay, just off from the international airport at the seaplane base, Prepar3d on the charts. We're going to be taking off here and then heading sort of due south for a little while underneath the International Airport Charlie airspace at about maybe 1,500 feet. Then we're going to make a left-hand turn and make our way over across the island, including across the mountains, to Jose Aponte de la Torre Airport, where we'll make a landing there using our landing gear as opposed to landing on the seaplane pontoons. So real-world weather has some rain and some thunders or some storms between here and there. We're going to try to miss those, and we're going to do our best to get there in a virtually safe manner. So I'm going to get the airplane fired up, and we'll get ready to go. So. There we go. Avionics. Then I'll punch in the destination in the GPS, and we'll be on our way. Got some real waves going here. Okay, now we want to stay out of the Charlie Bravo, or we want to stay out of the Charlie airspace. So we're going to make our hard turn here. Interesting, the smokestacks, the smoke is actually blowing the correct way for the wind. I don't know if that's an Orbx thing or not, but it's a pretty cool setting. And this is with the Orbx Land Class North America. And vectors we're running. Shot of San Juan there. People commuting to work today. Okay, we are flying along. We are going to imagine that we called for air traffic control to transition the Charlie airspace because it would not have been safe to just cruise along at 1,000 feet. But we're still flying generally south, and we're going to come up over these mountains. We need to get up to about 2,500 feet to have a couple hundred feet clearance over the ones in the next sector. And then in a minute here, we're going to make our turn to the east and make our way to the east side of the island. Okay, we're making a bit of a descent here to avoid some clouds, but nice view of the scenery here. And the valleys of Puerto Rico. And some of the terrain in the shadows of the clouds and some in the sunlight, like there. And the power lines. Very cool. Okay, we are cruising along. We are just coming up on the end of San Juan off on our left. And we've got some clouds we've got to try to avoid here that I've been sort of dodging. We've got some terrain we need to avoid here that I'm sort of dodging. And then eventually up here we need to climb over these mountains which top off. Those are the Sierra de Loquillo, I think. My Spanish is terrible. I can tell you that high peak on the right is El Toro, which is at 3,524 feet. We are currently at 2,300 feet, so we're going to have to make sure we get over El Toro without getting ourselves into trouble. a really nice job of sort of rendering the villages with their red roofs. One of the things I've really liked about Orbx scenery is different parts of the world look like different parts of the world. They don't all look the same. That over there is Buenaventura, and the river past it going to the sea. And I think that's a really nice example of the nice touches that has made Orbx so special in terms of what they produce. The water plant that's there on the river is on the charts. Let's see if I can get a focus on that. Right in the center there. And another example of the details they go to. Okay, we're dodging some clouds here, trying to stay VFR. It's making our route a little more circuitous. But we seem to be doing okay. We've got a few bumps, a little turbulence around these clouds. This is Active Sky 16 with Active Sky Cloud Art, but I'm using Rex textures, and so those are Rex soft clouds that are loading into the cloud structures created by Active Sky. And they look pretty good. Alright, over these mountains, and then we're pretty close to start thinking about approach. We'll get the weather at Jose Aponte when we're on the other side. And we're going to make sure we don't fly into these clouds either. And then we'll make our landing. If the wind's coming from generally the same direction, it looks like they're coming from 070. So if they're coming from 070, we'll probably fly into 070. That'd be the plan. I don't know about you, but seeing stuff like that makes me want to go to the beach. Okay, here's an interesting detail. We're looking right out the front of the airplane. I don't know if you can see the birds that are circling, but that's a way of indicating thermals for people who are trying to fly in soaring aircraft. We don't want to hit any of those, but I think that's really cool. Okay, we can see the east end of the island and generally the bay where the airport is. So we would switch over to the CTAF frequency for that airport, which is 122.90. We'd make our CTAF call. I don't see an ATIS frequency for it, but I've checked the METAR. And the METAR tells me that wind is from 070 at 8. And so we're going to want to make that heading on our way in. And it tells me that the altimeter is 2997. And our pattern altitude is 1038, so just about 1,000 feet. So if we're going to be flying in on 070, that's actually kind of, we can see the airport right here. We'll probably fly over the airport once just to check things out, see what we've got going on. And then stay out of this thunderstorm while we're at it, which, by the way, is rendered here on the ForeFlight. I'll take a shot of that. Some video, you can see where we are on ForeFlight, and there's the thunderstorm right there, which is pretty cool. All right, we got to avoid these clouds, so let's make a turn. And then we will come around and figure out this landing. Start our checklist here. Let's put on our carburetor heat. Get our fuel pump on. Start getting ready for a descent. Got our throttle here to take ourselves down. Out there we can see our runway. We've avoided those clouds. That's some really cool texture work right there by the scenery designers. That looks really realistic. Passing off our right wing. Okay, so I'd be calling that we're going to be making a 45-degree entry into left downwind for 7. We're down to about 1,000 feet. We're coming down pretty fast, or to 2,000 feet. We're a little high. I might make a little bit of an S-turn here to bleed some of that off. Looks like we've come out of the clouds and into the sun. And we're a little close on the pattern, but we'll make up for that. I wonder if this would be right traffic only, because there's this big mountain over here. I don't like that at all. So we would call on CTAP that we're going to make cross. We're going to cross midfield, and we're going to do right traffic for 7. Now, I didn't see any notes that said right traffic for 7, but that's clearly the right way to fly that, because trying to make your way through across that hill would be dangerous. That's the way I would describe that. So we've crossed midfield. We're just about 1,000 feet. Got a couple hundred feet to lose. And now we'll just make a little paperclip turn and come around to make 45 or 7 with right traffic. Okay, there we are at pattern altitude. The clouds and the shadows keep popping in and out, which is a little distracting. Okay. All right. So we're on our downwind leg. We're on our right pattern. We're right on our touchdown point. We'd cut the throttle. Put in the first notch of flaps. Carb heat on. Fuel pump on. Landing lights are on. Don't let the nose come up. Start flying the airplane downhill. Again, there's terrain here to the, I guess that would be the west of the field. So we got to be careful about that. About 45 degrees now. We'll make our base turn. We're tight in enough. We'll probably just turn straight to the numbers, but we'll see. And the next notch of flaps. There we go. I turned a little more aggressively on base because I didn't want to fly too close to that big hill over there. Gear down. All right, mixture rich, carb heat on, fuel pump on, gear is down 3 in the green. The lights come on, the light comes out over the airport. 500 feet on final. Final flaps. Let them slow the airplane. A little more speed. We're on a really slow airplane with all this stuff hanging off of us. There we go. Trim. And we're looking right at that black set of streaks as our touchdown point. If we're flying the right glide slope, it's not getting any bigger, and it's not getting any or closer or farther away, it's just getting larger, which feels about right here. Start rounding out.
Too low terrain.
Yeah, well, I'm landing, dear. What do you think's supposed to happen? Ease off the throttle. Pull the airplane back. There we go. All right, we might even make this first turn off. How about that? Okay, so a quick little flight around Puerto Rico. That was a lot of fun. Not too long, and was interesting new scenery I haven't seen before. We would stop here. Brakes on this baby are different than on the Cessna. We would put our flaps up, carpet off, fuel pump back off, turn our land strobe and landing lights off, taxi lights on. So, and again, I really like doing the viewer request flights. I think they're a lot of fun, and I'm happy to do them, especially if they can be sort of short like this. I was able to fly across a decent part of Puerto Rico in just 30 minutes, and real world weather made it interesting, and I got to see some new things. So thanks very much for watching On the Glide Slope, and please continue with your comments and questions. I'm happy to help in terms of the simulator and how it works. If you have questions about screen setups or the PC specifications or just any of my lessons along the way, I encourage you to go to www.ontheglideslope.net. I've got lots and lots of information there about sort of how I built this and what my lessons have been and how I use it to try to help with my real-world flight training. And if there isn't something there that I can answer, you can always email me at ontheglideslope@gmail.com, and I'll reply to that as fast as I can also. So Puerto Rico, we're at this. I assume there's a place here where we could get some pretty good food. Fried plantains sound good to me. Don't know how they sound to you. And a good Puerto Rican beer. That's the plan. We'll just taxi down here to the fuel and put a couple gallons back in the tanks, and then we'll be done. Give the airplane something to drink. Okay, throttle back, mixture out. Electronics off, magnetos off, master switch off, and we can put the airplane to bed. Thanks for watching.